Alrighty guys, our final notes for today. We are going to be looking at observations, predictions, inferences, and then conclusions. So down here at the bottom, you are going to see that you have 16 statements, and they are going to fall under one of these four categories. But what I want to point out to you is that the first thing you're going to look for would be the definitions. So let's look through and find some definitions. A guess about what may happen in the future. A hypothesis is an example. All right, and here is another definition. Attempts to explain observations based on background knowledge and available data. So let's find another definition. A description using your five senses or data collected by measuring. And then our final one is a summary based on the results of an investigation after considering all information. All right, so I want you to stop the video and I want you to put them where you think these four definitions go, okay? And then we'll come back in a moment and talk it over. Alrighty, so let's check to see how you did with the definitions. So observations, we did an activity on this already with qualitative and quantitative. So we know that an observation is going to be what we look at, right? When you observe something. So making an observation and then asking a question or posing a question will be the first steps in our scientific method. So our observations are going to either be qualitative, using our senses, or quantitative, using our numbers. So that is going to be this one right here. I'm going to put a little O here. All right, so then let's take a look at predictions. We did a little bit with that, or we talked about that a little bit. It's like, what do you think is going to happen next? All right, so it's going to be a guess about what might happen in the future. All right, what's going to happen next? When you do this in language arts a lot. You do this when you're reading. You're thinking, oh, I wonder what's going to happen with this character. I wonder what's going to happen next. I wonder how this problem is going to be solved. That's what we do in science as well. We make a prediction about what we think is going to happen next. When we get into writing a hypothesis next week, you're going to see that we're really just kind of looking at what we think is going to happen. Now it needs to be educated. It needs to be informed a bit, okay? All right, so we have our observation, we have our prediction. So then in our inferences, all right, so we did this too, where we're taking our background knowledge and we're applying it to our current situation. So that's this one over here. Attempts to explain observations based on background knowledge and available data. So it's taking what we know, our background knowledge, and putting it in our current situation and interpreting that current situation. That's making an inference. Now, when we do a prediction, we are also bringing in our background knowledge, but instead of it being a current situation, we're looking at what's going to happen next, like in the future. That future could even be just a few moments from then, but we are not looking at the now, we're looking at the future when we make a prediction. So that leaves conclusion as this. So our conclusion, just like when you are writing a conclusion paragraph, it's going to wrap it all up. All right, a summary based on the results of an investigation after considering all the information. So after you've done your experiment and you've looked at your data, you've wrapped it up. This is what you conclude has happened. These are the results of your investigation. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to put the remaining 12, and I will tell you that there are 4 in each one of those columns. I want you to think, is it making an observation? Are you using your senses? Or is it showing a measurement? That would go under this observation. prediction. So are you bringing your background knowledge in, and what do you think is going to happen next, whether it be that day, whether it be next week, whether it be later? It's bringing your background knowledge into the current situation and assessing what do you think is going to happen next, later. Inferences would be you're going to look for those statements that are explaining what's happening now. All right. So you're inferring that this is my background knowledge and this is my current situation. So this is what I think is happening now. All right. That's making an inference. There will be 3 of those down here. And then your conclusion will be 3 statements also that is wrapping things up. All right. It looks like you are finished with your investigation. All right. So you're going to look for 3 of those statements. I will have this attached a little bit later for you to check your answers. All right. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed learning and practicing how to think like a scientist, making inferences, looking at observations, making predictions, and looking at the idea, or starting to look at the idea of what a conclusion might look like. Okay? All right. See you soon. Reach out if you need anything. Bye-bye now.